What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So today we're going to take a look at the big, beautiful bill. I'm going to show you the comparison between the House version and the Senate version. Now, why is it important to talk about this? The main reason it's important to talk about this is because they have the tax deduction for people who are 65 or older. They have the no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. We're going to look at the details because there have been some changes between the Senate version and the House version. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that. And then I'll talk a little bit about what needs to happen once they pass it in the Senate. Will it go back to the House? We'll talk a little bit about that as well. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please like the video. And if you're watching this video and you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. You can also send me an email if you have a story to share. If you have a video idea that you want me to do, you can send me a link to an article or send me a link to a video, and then maybe I'll do a future video on that topic. Okay, let's go ahead. Let me switch over. I'm going to show you my screen here so we can talk a little bit about the differences between the two bills. Now, I'll start at the bottom first, and then we'll work our way up. And the reason is because I did a video yesterday and I talked about this. And so I just wanted to show you guys when it comes to the senior deduction. So this is people who are 65 or older. The House version was showing a $4,000 temporary tax deduction. Okay. And what they've done here, the Senate version, so this is the House here and this is the Senate. The Senate version, they've increased it. It's $6,000. So a $6,000 temporary tax deduction for 3 years. That's what they're talking about right now. So I just wanted to show you guys that that is what they have changed when it comes to people 65 or older. And what they're trying to do here is they're trying to address the fact that they don't have no tax on Social Security. That was the promise that President Trump put out there, no tax on Social Security. He was on the campaign trail talking about it all the time. Well, guess what? It's not in this big, beautiful bill. All they have is this 65 or older, you get a tax deduction. And if you guys don't really know about tax deductions, it's really not going to benefit that many people because basically what they're saying is, let's say if you receive $30,000 in Social Security benefits as well as your other retirement, all it's going to do is reduce that amount. So that $30,000 and it's no longer be $30,000, it'll be $24,000. That's what you will be exposed to when it comes to taxes. That's all it does. And for some people, if you can write off more than $6,000, then it's not going to benefit you at all. So it's a very, very small number of people that are going to benefit from that. Okay, so let's go ahead and start from the top. I'm going to go pretty fast through these. I just want to give you guys an idea of what they're doing here. So the SALT cap, and this is mainly going to impact blue states. Okay, so you do have some Republicans, and remember, this bill is a reconciliation bill. And so in the House, they're trying to get all the Republicans together to vote for this bill. All they need is a majority. And in the Senate, they're trying to do the same thing. All they need is a majority. Actually, in the Senate, they only need 50. If they can get 50 votes, the vice president can come in and break the tie. And that's the whole reason for a reconciliation bill. Democrats did this back in 2018, 2019, when they had the majority. They had the majority of the House and majority of the Senate. They went ahead and they passed a reconciliation bill. And so the SALT cap, this is mainly going to impact blue states, and it's a tax, basically a tax incentive for them. So they had it at 40,000. Okay, 40,000 in the House, and in the Senate, they dropped it down to 10,000. Now, this is going to be a huge problem in the House because you have some Republicans that are in blue states. They want this to be higher because they know this is going to impact those wealthier people in the blue states. And so they want it to be higher. They want it to be 40,000. They were negotiating back and forth. And I remember some of the holdouts, the moderate Republicans, if you want to look at it that way, or the Republicans that are in these blue states, they wanted it to go higher. And when it went up higher, that's when they came along and voted. Now, remember, in the House only passed this bill by one vote. So they need all the votes they can get. And so if you drop the SALT cap down to 10,000, you're going to have some moderate Republicans that are not going to vote for that. So we'll have to see what they do in the House when it comes to that. So health and Medicaid, so work requirements. So the tax at 6% here, they made a change in the House, and it's now the tax at 3.5%. But broader rules. So they're going to be tighter on the rules when it comes to work. You know, if you're able-bodied and all that, that's what they're talking about with Medicaid. If you're able-bodied, then you need to be working or volunteering or doing something. So they're going to have tighter rules. We don't have all the information when it comes to how tight the rules are going to be. And once I get that information, I will come back and give you that information. But right now, it looks like the Senate, they want to be harder on people who are able-bodied, as they would say. Okay, child tax credit, $2,500. That's what the House had. Now look what the Senate did. The Senate dropped it down to $2,200. And so, very interesting why the Senate would drop it down to $2,200 as opposed to $2,500. We're talking about $300 here. I don't get that. But they've done it nonetheless. Looking at the green energy credits, major rollbacks, slower phased out rollbacks. So the Senate has decided that they want to be slower about the rollbacks when it comes to the energy efficient cars and things like that. They had all these incentives, these tax incentives if you buy an energy efficient car. They want to get rid of all of those. Okay, tips on overtime deductions, more generous. Okay, that's the House version. It just says more generous. And then what the Senate is doing, they're making a big change here. They want to cap it and limit it. Okay, and we're going to talk a little bit about that in a second. So debt ceiling, the House, they raised the debt ceiling or want to raise the debt ceiling by $4 trillion. What does the Senate want to do? They want to raise it even higher, $5 trillion. Okay, and remember, you raise the debt ceiling, basically you're increasing your limit on your credit card is basically what they're saying. So you can spend more. Even if you don't have the money, you can spend more if they raise the debt ceiling. And I never understood this. If you're talking about we spend too much money, the government spends too much money, we have a $36 trillion debt, why are you raising the debt limit? It doesn't make sense to me. And then you raise it to $4 trillion. That's what the House says. And then the Senate says, no, we need even more. But we have a problem with spending. And you'll have some of these same politicians that will vote for this bill in the Senate. They're going to say, we have a problem. We spend too much money, but you're raising the debt ceiling. You're allowing it to happen. It's just like if someone's using a credit card and you raise their credit limit so they can buy even more when you know they're not responsible already. They're spending too much money. It doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't. I don't understand that the concept there of raising the debt ceiling when we already have a problem with spending. Okay, so we'll go down here, the business endowments, standard cuts for the House, and then more permanent breaks, smaller endowment tax hikes. Okay, so I'm not going to go that much into that. Once they put out the bill and we can see the language, and we'll talk a little bit more about what that all means. But looking at no tax on tips over time, and we talked about Social Security already, I just want to go over this. So no tax on tips. Look at what they're doing here. So full deduction of reported tips from 2025 to 2028. Okay, now let's look at the House. That's the House version there. It's very similar. So we still have the 3 years. It's still temporary. But what the Senate is doing is they want to put a cap on this. Okay. And then they have the income phase out. We're now talking about the phase out. The Senate has changed that to 150,000. I think they made the change, 150,000 to 300. So 150,000 for single filers. And then for couples, it would be 300,000. But they put this cap in here. Okay. What this cap is saying is you can no tax on tips for up to $25,000. Anything over that, you're going to have to pay taxes on. And they did the same thing with overtime. So let's look at overtime. So when it comes to overtime, once again, 3 years, they're just showing the House version. And then they put this cap, the Senate, they put this cap on it. $12,500 for individual, $25,000 for joint filers. And then they have the income phase out as well. I think it's I think it's the same. It's $150,000 for individual, $300,000 for couples. But $12,500, that's overtime. So that's not that much when it comes to overtime. Now, you have to understand how they're doing this. So let's say you earn $20 an hour. So you're working a job, you earn $20 an hour, you work overtime, and those times that you work overtime, you're getting $10 more. So you're getting $30 an hour. So they take that $10, and that is income that they won't tax. But if you get to $12,500, anything over that, you're going to be paying taxes on that. So it's I won't say it's a small window, but $12,500 is really not that much in the big scheme of things. And so that's what they're talking about right now when it comes to this big, beautiful bill. Now, this bill, I can't see, if they pass this in the Senate, it's not going to pass the House. The way that it's written right now, it's not going to pass the House. And one of the major reasons is going to be the SALT cap. That is not, it's not going to go through the House. You're going to have some Congress people that are just not going to vote for it, some Republican Congress people. Now, remember, the Republicans are trying to pass this on their own. Democrats are not going to be helping out at all. They're not going to be voting for this. They'll be voting against it. Just like Republicans, they did the same thing back when Democrats had the reconciliation bill. So they do this. They play this game, and it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to vote for any of this. The Medicaid cuts and all this stuff, that's what the Democrats are going to be talking about. Look at all these cuts. Look at all this spending. And then Republicans are just, I mean, even though Republicans have been talking about for a long time now, we spend too much money. We spend too much money. We need to be fiscally conservative and all of this stuff. They want to pass this bill. And the CBO has already indicated, and probably go up. I think the Senate version is going to be even more, but right now it's supposed to add about $2.4 trillion to our national debt over a 10-year span. And so this is not going to be a bill that's going to pay for itself. Even with all the cuts that they have, it's still not going to pay for itself. It is going to add to our national debt. And not only will it add to the national debt, but when it comes to Social Security, when it comes to people 65 or older, they're not really getting any break on this. And realistically, that promise has been broken. Okay, the no tax on Social Security, it's not a thing. They're not going to do it. They're not going to move forward with it. And the president, although we know that Congress, they legislate, the president is the one that was out there saying no tax on Social Security. The president should also be the one that's saying, look, you need to put that in this bill. You need to find a way to make those people whole, because this tax deduction is not going to do it. And I said this in a previous video, why not make it a tax credit? You make it a tax credit, that's going to help more people that are 65 or older than making it this tax deduction, which a lot of people are not even going to qualify for. So I want to know what you guys think, so let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. So that's all we have for this video. Make sure if you guys want to send me an email, you can do that, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video, subscribe for more, and check out these videos over here for some more great content. Talk to you later. Bye.